Okay, well, I want to talk about this thing that I was actually really excited about. So I had a dream the other day, which, if you've ever tried to learn a language, when the first time you have like a dream in that language you're trying to learn, it's kind of crazy. It's like, whoa, it's clicking. And I had that experience, but for like personal development or business stuff. And in my dream, I don't remember all of the details, but I remember like some wise guy. He said, people like problems, and let's get lunch sometime isn't a problem, which doesn't seem that like profound. But I've been thinking a lot about it because there's so many open-ended things that people say. They're like, "Oh, let's get lunch sometime," or "We should hang out," or "We should." Like basically, they give things, but they don't give a problem. Which a question is a problem. If you think about school and math and all of that, your math problems. How many? If Johnny had 100 watermelons and ate 70, oh, first of all, he's gonna have the runs. But second, he has knowing that everybody has problems and their mind is looking for problems. Successful people create their own problems. People that have a really hard time let life create problems for them. So if you are deciding this is the issue that I'm going to solve, you're happy because you're progressing and working towards something versus you wake up and your car dies and all of these things happen to you and they're creating problems for you. That's when you start to feel overwhelmed and things like that. So having the ability to create the right, it sounds silly, but to create problems is kind of a superpower. And if you think about it, if everybody has problems, then everybody, I think that it's a skill to be a problem solver, but everybody solves problems because everybody has that same finite amount of problems going on in their mind at one amount of time. So everybody's capable of solving a problem. So being a problem solver, great. Being able to find the right problem is how you can become successful because there's a billion things that you can do with your time every single day, but saying, how do I solve this problem and choosing the right one is how you're going to be able to grow personally, your relationships, your business, everything like that. So I thought that was really cool. People like problems, and let's go get lunch sometime isn't a problem. So that context is if you want to hang out with somebody or if you want to get into the same circle of somebody, don't say, let's get lunch sometime. Don't give an open ended thing. Ask them a question of, how does lunch on next Tuesday look for you? That's a problem because they have to give a response versus open ended isn't a problem. Figure out how you can ask and create the right problems in your life. There was something Oprah Winfrey one time was sued for I think like $1 billion or something. It was I don't remember all the details, but she was sued for $1 billion, and a reporter asked her, "How do you feel getting sued for $1 billion?" And she said, I'm grateful to be the person that is able to get sued for $1 billion. That means that she's created so much that that's the size of problem that she's dealing with. And so problems are good if you're the one that decides what they are and you're the one that gets to point yourself at a problem to overcome it. They're bad if every single day you're just going about flowing and putting out fires and getting problems brought to you. That's when you get overwhelmed. That's when you get burnt out. But if you point a direction, identify 3 to 5 problems that you're solving, and that are the right problems, you'll get fired up. So that was kind of cool. Little dream I had. It's kind of a cool moment. I was like, whoa, personal development stuff is coming into my dreams. Must be putting a lot of it into my mind. I unfollow people on social media that I haven't actually talked to in 2 years or longer. And here's why. Because I was reflecting a lot on my social media usage and the impact it has on my mind. I was listening to this podcast and it talked about how social media is for human connection as like hay is for deer. So if you don't know this, deer, there was basically there was a really bad winter and wasn't any food for the deer. And so a guy trying to be a good Samaritan went out and he took hay and gave it to the deer. And he didn't know. He's like, okay, here's food. It's sustenance for them. But what happened is that it filled them, but it actually killed them because they didn't get any nutrients. It bloated them and it was bad for them. And it's the same thing with social media consumption, overconsumption of social media. You have this sense of you're connecting to people because you're liking, you might be commenting, they might be commenting on your thing, but it's not actually connection. It's the interesting like phenomenon that's going on in your mind. Because imagine you're at high school and you're walking through the cafeteria and everybody has their own little cliques, their own little tables, and you're not sitting at any of them, you're just observing. That's what happens typically, especially with people that you don't interact with in real life. You don't know their story. So you're walking through and you see, oh my gosh, Jason and his family, they went to Hawaii. You weren't there. You like it, but that's not actually like an engagement. That's not a connection that you made. That was walking through high school, seeing Jason and his family sitting at the table, and you weren't invited. So like you feel like you're connecting, but really it's actually having the opposite effect. So that's why I cleanse my social media. If I haven't like individually messaged you or called you within 2 years, I'm gonna unfollow you because one, for the most part, it's probably irrelevant. It doesn't have any impact on my life. If you're doing really well, it's great. If you're doing really poorly, like either if you're doing really well, natural human tendency is going to be to compare myself, or if you're doing really poorly, the human tendency is going to be to feel bad and bring my day down, which as much as I love the people in my life or that used to be in my life, there's just so many other things going on that I don't have the space. And I think that's a good rule that people should apply. I think social media has a place. I've learned a lot from different influencers. I've learned things. There's brevity. I follow a lot of comedians. There's brevity. You can laugh, you can smile. Like it's good on that side. But following, kids that you met in high school that you haven't talked to in 15 years, does knowing that, oh my gosh, they're having their fourth kid actually matter? No, because more often than not, it's going to create some sort of emotion that you don't need in your life. Like whether it's like comparison, sadness, resentment, like anything. And that's something that I found that was really interesting is that I was following all these people in their life. You're watching highlight reel, and even though we know that social media is this person's highlight reel, it's hard where every single one that you see is somebody's highlight reel because then it starts to morph into this is everybody's everyday life, but it's not. It's just 60 different players highlight reel right in a row, and it makes you feel like a loser. So there's no value. It's trading out social media, not trading it out. I think it's good to have it, but reducing the amount of hay that you're giving to the deer and increasing the amount of just grass that you're eating. Good stuff on social media, getting rid of anything that can compare. That's another little rant. I have a loved one that I know that has like a lifestyle social media account, and they're great. But I don't understand why people follow them because you don't actually get anything from them other than their life's better than mine, and it just raises complete discontent. Like following lifestyle people that somebody moved to Hawaii and they post bikini pictures every day, and you're like, well, I'm this postpartum mom and I don't have that bod and they do, and like all these things. There's nothing that you benefit from that. The 10% off on your Amazon store that you're going to get because they shared some sort of like article of clothing isn't worth all of the emotional distress that you're going to have from following and seeing that content every single day. So, in conclusion, the reason why I unfollow everybody that either isn't like a comedian or philosopher that helps or some sort of mentor, if you want to get into art, following artists, okay. But following a bikini model and you want to get into art doesn't make any sense. But yeah, so mentors, the things that you like, those are good on social media. But unfollowing anybody that I haven't talked to in over 2 years or people that I don't know that I find myself saying, wow, I wish I had anything, unfollowing them in the last 90 days, my content with my life, my marriage, how I'm a dad, everything like that has gone way up because I'm not constantly getting fed things that I can compare myself to every single day of, oh, I'm failing as a husband, I'm failing as a father, I'm failing as a business owner, I'm failing at health, all of these things because I follow people that put good into me and people that I have their phone number. That's really the rule is if I don't have your phone number in my phone, I'm not going to follow